here's an extra example of finding the surface area of a composite figure. So in this example, we have two rectangular prisms that were put together to form a composite solid. So I'm going to start by finding the surface area of this figure by looking at the bases. We have two bases that are identical, the front and the back of this figure. So I'm going to trace the front. Here's the front. So that front face is actually an irregular figure. It's a composite figure. It's made up of two rectangles. So what I could do is separate them right here so you see the two rectangles. So we're going to use base times height for both of those. So let's start with the bottom one right here. The base is 12, the height is 3. So 12 times 3 is 36. So then I'm going to look at the top one. So I have to use the vertical distances. I have to take 10 and subtract 3, so I get 7 for this length. And then for the horizontal distance, I get 12 and 8. When I subtract them, I get 4, so this distance is 4. So to find the area of rectangle 2, I'm going to do 4 times 7. And I get 28. Then to get the whole entire area of that front face, I'm going to add that 36 and 28, and I get 64. Again, since there's two faces that are identical to that, the front and the back, I'm going to multiply that 64 times 2, and I get 128. So I'm going to box this 128 in. I'm going to need it for later. I have to add that in the end. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to our lateral faces. So let's go through and erase the section over here. I am going to keep the 4 and the 7 that I labeled already. So again, we had a 4 here and a 7 here. So the lateral faces means to go through and find the area of each of these faces that wrap around our figure. So there's 4 there, there's 1 over here we can't see, and then 1 on the bottom. So two ways to do it: either find the area of each of those 6 rectangles individually and then add them all together, or you could use that trick we've been talking about in class where we go through and find the perimeter of the base and then multiply by the height of the figure. The height of the figure is 2. We're going to use the perimeter method because it ends up being a little bit shorter. So perimeter of the base, how I got this, I started here and I traced around it. I have 8, 3, 12, 10, 4, and 7. I just added all my side lengths together and I got 44. Now I'm going to multiply that 44 by the height of the figure, which was 2. So 44 times 2 gives me 88. So now I'm going to take that 88, which represents the area of all the lateral faces, and I'm going to take my 128, which is the area of the two bases, and add them together, and that will give me my total surface area. So the total surface area for this problem is 128 plus 88, which is 216, and your units are millimeters squared.